Number one, just for knowing, even if SEO clients are not my preferred model, say you charge $1,000 on a client, how much of that should you allocate to content? It just depends. You know, like, are you doing it in-house? Are you buying it, you outsourcing the content to a third-party provider, you know, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you that it depends with my clients on average. No, usually I spend more of whatever the overall retainer budget is on a monthly basis in the beginning so that I can get them traction very quickly. But then once, you know, my client the project is performing well, then I usually try to keep it to about 40%, no more than 40% of whatever the overall budget is. And that pays for content, that pays for virtual assistants to manage different aspects. So essentially the, you know, administrative assistants and that kind of stuff. But I try to keep it around 40%. That's not always the case. Like I said, in the beginning, typically I might spend 60 or 70% of whatever the monthly retainer is to get traction very quickly. But then once it's performing well, then that's, like I said, I try to keep it at somewhere around the 40% mark. And that's just kind of a rule of thumb. It doesn't always fall into that ratio. How about you guys?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Marco.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think he's kind. I forget, is this BB?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's approaching this kind of backwards. I would say, how much is it going to cost to get the content that I need, and then kind of work off of that. Because if the content can be done for $50, what, you know, that's great. That doesn't mean you can't charge $1,000. You know, I would just look at that in the budget instead of saying, okay, I'm getting $1,000 now. How much should I spend? Because at that point, what if the answer is 1,200? So. Right. Yeah, which, I mean, it won't be, but yeah, I would just say maybe work that backwards in the future. I think you're right to say, how much should I expect to be spending? Because you may just be asking this question to kind of look into content ideas and how much that may cost. But if not, I would say, yeah, definitely flip this around a little bit next time and say, if I need to produce content, or how much is it going to cost? And then based on that, how much should I charge?
Yeah, to me, I'm with Adam, because he's focusing on the wrong thing. It's not just content allocation. How much is it going to take for resource allocation? Because there's a lot of things that $1,000 client is going to require. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully you're not doing a whole lot for $1,000. I wouldn't do shit for $1,000. Right? $1,000, that's not even an hour of my time. I'm not doing shit. Now, and I understand you guys, you have to take these clients. On $1,000, you should have a system in place. It has to be part of your system. And you have to know what that system costs you monthly per client. So that you know, when you bring $1,000 client in, what it is that you can give that client for that $1,000. Because if you don't know, you're going to end up spending a whole lot of your time. Listen to me when I tell you this. It's going to cost you more than that $1,000 that client is giving you, because it's going to require a whole lot of your time, which you shouldn't be spending on that anyway. So focus on building a system to the point where you know exactly. So let's say the first 3 months, it's going to cost you 80% of that revenue coming in. But after that, it's going to go down, let's say 30, 40, and then you get to keep 60. Well, see, now you have a system in place and you know exactly what it's going to cost. And you can just bring these people in one right after the other at $1,000, knowing that 3 months later, you're going to keep 60% of the revenue. So you get 10 clients. At the end of those 3 months, you're making $6K a month. If you don't know, it's going to cost you time and it's going to cost you money. Remember what I'm telling you.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And forgive me, I forgot that he mentioned to just content, but what I was talking about is overall, how much of my client's budget am I using to get them results for? And that covers link building, embed campaigns, all of it, right? So my blogger to produce content, everything, that covers it all. So, and I do have a system for, all I'm working with now is tree service clients. So, you know, I know what my costs are going in to a new, anytime I get a new client that contacts a new tree service contractor that contacts me, I'll look at their project and I'll determine what the competition levels are, but I know what my costs are. So it's easy for me to be able to quote on that. And that's again why I prefer to stick with just one industry type now, because I know what my costs are. I know what the keywords are. I know what, I've got content people in place that are really good at producing content for that industry. So all of it just makes it much easier for me to be able to determine very quickly what my cost, like it's just easier to manage my business when it's all one industry like that. So that's why I got away from trying to do work for anybody other than just tree care companies now.